by now, 0xv2 is live and brand new routing engine is available through matcha.xyz. Go and give it a look. Search for different long tail tokens, look at blue chips, experiment with getting quotes for different trade sizes, look at the different routing diagrams. You can get a sense of what type of pricing and experience you can potentially offer through your own product using 0x API. And yeah, as a whale, you might want to check out Matcha as well, because you're going to be able to get absolutely top-tier world-class pricing and tapping into all the hundreds of on-chain liquidity sources as well as 0x RFQ.
Welcome to the Edge Podcast. I'm DeFi Dad here with Nomadic from 4RC. Today's show spotlights the release of 0x V2 and its flagship DEX aggregator, matcha.xyz. In this episode, the legendary DeFi founder Will Warren gives us a first look at 0x V2's brand new routing engine, which enables them to win 90% of trades versus the competition for any trade size, from small degen swaps up to multi-million-dollar whale trades. But before we do, just a quick word from our sponsors who make the Edge podcast possible. Introducing Flat Money, the first decentralized, delta-neutral FLATCOIN built on Base with sustainable yield that's completely untethered from legacy finance. Because DeFi needs an uncensorable based unit of currency. You can mint unit with RETH, which is held in the protocol's shared liquidity pool, where it's borrowed by leveraged traders. As a leveraged trader, you can deposit your margin collateral and go long on RETH. If you're trading in the perpetual futures market, you'll pay unit holders to open leverage positions. If you're holding unit, you'll earn yield from liquidations, borrow rate, and trading fees. Preserve your purchasing power and offset your exposure to crypto market volatility. Learn more at flat.money. Power up your portfolio by borrowing, lending, and multiplying your favorite assets, made safe and easy by the industry-leading automation tools at SUMMER.FI. SUMMER.FI offers a curated DeFi experience to access the highest quality protocols and strategies. Discover new earn strategies for your portfolio in a user-friendly app designed to filter based on the tokens you hold, the networks you transact on, the protocols you trust, and the highest available yields. Learn more today at SUMMER.FI, the best place to borrow and earn in DeFi. Catch the tide of the mainnet launch of Puffer Finance. Whether you're an Ethereum staker or an aspiring node operator, Puffer delivers the decentralization revolution with its cutting-edge technology. Start with just 2 ETH to unlock the potential of native liquid restaking and maximize your earnings. Join the movement now and anchor your stake at puffer.fi. All right, let's introduce Will Warren, the co-founder of 0x. Will, welcome to the Edge Podcast. How are you doing?
Good. Happy to be chatting with you guys. Thanks for having me.
So we're recording this in advance of the release of 0x V2. So if you're listening to this, you can go to matcha.xyz to start to enjoy the benefits of 0x V2 through the front end that is matcha.xyz. So Matcha for me is a DEX aggregator that I've been using for several years. When it came out, it was a trailblazer because we didn't have DEX aggregators that had grown popular. There was a time in DeFi where we would trade on the front end of like a Uniswap or Curve or whatever DEX AMM that existed. And thankfully, with a tool like Matcha, we're able to get all of the best prices in one place. And so, Will, why don't we start with a little bit more about your background? Funny enough, I will point out I was at UCSD. I think at some point when you were there, we were both in like a grad program. I wish I had met you as you were dabbling in crypto. I think my life would have turned out a little bit differently. But anyways, yeah, tell us about like what got you into crypto and ultimately about the founding of 0x and Matcha.
Yeah. Well, so I read about Bitcoin back in probably 2013, somewhere around there, and seemed like a very interesting piece of technology. And kind of kept an eye on it. Thought it was kind of more of like a novelty, but had powerful potential. And at the time, I was at UC San Diego. I was studying mechanical engineering in undergrad. And I was planning to go down more of like a research path. And I spent a couple years working at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico before starting PhD program back at UCSD. And during that time, Ethereum emerged, and I learned about it through my wife, Linda Shea, who was working at Coinbase at that time. And as I learned more and more about Ethereum, it kind of became clear to me that this was going to be one of the most important pieces of technology that would emerge during my lifetime. And so I very quickly kind of lost interest in everything else besides hacking on smart contracts and learning more about the EVM. And so eventually I decided to drop out of the PhD program, move to San Francisco, and focus on learning about and kind of becoming involved in the Ethereum ecosystem full-time. Not too long after I met my co-founder, Amir, in SF, he similarly got bit by the Ethereum bug, kind of left everything behind. Previously, he'd been a trader at DRW in Chicago, and we met, and we kind of have this shared vision for what Ethereum would enable, kind of a core thesis. And that was that all forms of value would eventually become tokenized on public blockchains like Ethereum. So billions of different tokenized assets ranging from traditional securities, stocks, bonds, startup equity, all the way to fiat currencies and video game items even. And at the time, it seemed kind of crazy. There were probably around like 10 ERC20 tokens on Ethereum that had any usage. The ERC20 token standard had just been invented. And so, late 2016, Amir and I, kind of following this thesis of the tokenization of everything, we felt that it would become really important to have infrastructure to be able to swap these tokens. And this infrastructure should be standardized, should be open source, and it should also be publicly accessible. And so we set out to build the first decentralized exchange protocol on top of Ethereum, 0x protocol. And 0x protocol is, it's an off-chain order relay with on-chain settlement DEX, where you cryptographically sign messages off-chain, and then they're injected into a smart contract on the blockchain to actually settle the trade, move tokens between wallets. And you could use these different messages in a variety of ways. You could kind of collect a bunch of different messages and arrange them into the form of an order book. You could create a RFQ system where someone asks for a specific quote, and you turn around and provide them with this signed quote just in time. And you could also use these messages to trade kind of peer-to-peer privately with your friends. And so this set us down the path of building infrastructure for swapping tokenized assets. And that continues to be what we focus on today.
Will, when you were building 0x protocol, DEXs were not popular, and it was something that even those that were deep into crypto, it was a rarity that you were trading on DEXs, and most, I think, were still on centralized exchanges. I wonder, how has the challenge of building evolved for you, given that there's just been so many innovations, DeFi has, grown up so much, like the fact that we have L2s that are thriving now, and that, you can trade, for very small fees at, fast transaction times. It's unlocked a lot. And I think it's hopefully made your job a little bit easier, but just curious about like the challenge of building as a legacy builder.
Yeah. It's been challenging, very exciting and stimulating. And I wouldn't change a thing if I could go back in time. In the early days, the entire Ethereum community was kind of like a tight-knit group of like kind of nerds that just like were thinking about all the cool stuff you could build with smart contracts. And most of the things that people were building were more like hobby projects. That being said, like the one thing all of these different Ethereum projects had in common in the early days is that they all required exchange functionality in order to work. So in 2016 in San Francisco, we met a bunch of different builders like MakerDAO creating stablecoin, Augur and Gnosis creating prediction markets, and Mellowport creating tokenized funds. And they all required exchange functionality. But it really wasn't their target use case. It was kind of more of like a building block that was necessary to unlock the real use case they were going after. And every single team was kind of approaching the problem of creating a decentralized exchange differently. And there wasn't really any standardization. All the different implementations kind of behave differently, different kind of like security assumptions, and most importantly, kind of fragmented liquidity across all of these different kind of one-off DEXs. And so, we really wanted to be the team to come in and establish like a standard for swapping tokenized assets. It was very early. There were no companies that were, crypto native on chain and earning revenue. Most of the things that people were building were, like kind of grassroots, maybe, couple dozen people interacting with these different, consumer products a day. And I would say that it was really fun because there was tons of experimentation. It was also very unfocused at that time because there weren't paying customers. And as time has gone on, especially so in like the last 4 years, there are real companies and real customers that have problems that need to be solved, and they're willing to pay to solve those problems. And it really, really brings priorities into focus and ensures that, if you're building something, it really needs to like solve a problem for a customer. And I would say like that's been one of the biggest cultural changes that we've observed in the Ethereum ecosystem over the last like 8 years or so. Started out really grassroots, people building cool stuff for the fun of it, a lot of passion projects. Over time, kind of trying to establish more community standards, more building blocks. Like Uniswap emerging in 2018 or 2019. That really changed the DEX ecosystem. Uniswap completely opened up tokenization by making it possible for anyone to very easily create an ERC20 token and spin up a liquidity pool for trading without having to go to a centralized exchange. And this was common practice at the time. It doesn't happen anymore, but back in 2018, 2019, if you created a token, a lot of projects kind of needed to go to a centralized exchange like a Binance or some of the other players back then that maybe aren't used as commonly anymore, and kind of like try and get your token to be accessible to a bunch of people with a liquid market. And with Uniswap, it became possible for you to, within 10 minutes, create that ERC20 token, spin up a liquidity pool, and create a community very quickly. At the same time, the introduction of Uniswap really introduced tons of innovation, tons of people taking what Uniswap built and evolving it in different ways. And it created intense competitive pressure over the following years. As more teams started building different decentralized exchanges, different types of AMMs, different types of order books, RFQ systems, people started thinking about things like MEV. At the time, there were probably a small handful of folks that were thinking about MEV, and it took like years for MEV to kind of become like a common knowledge within the ecosystem. And during that period of time, the DEX space became ultra competitive, and now wallet space, creating L2s or alternative layer ones, like super duper competitive. Anything that you're trying to build that solves a genuine user need today in crypto, it's going to be a crowded space, and you're going to have to build something really good.
Will, I think that was like a great speed run kind of mini history of what a lot of us have been through the last few years. And I actually like forget how far we've come and like how infantile the space was at certain points in time. I think it's really easy to forget that. And like, I've seen this kind of like nihilism creep into crypto Twitter these days. And just hearing what you said, and again, seeing where we came from, where we are now, things aren't perfect. There's still a lot of stuff broken that needs to be fixed, but man, is it so much different than it was. And, it's to people like you too, like building the core infrastructure in the space that we need. I want to get into 0xV2 in a bit, but I think it's kind of important to talk a bit about Matcha because that is going to be the vessel where 0xV2 will first kind of be shown through. So maybe even before we dive into the big V2 thing that you've been working on behind the scenes, let's like, again, kind of set the table with how do you define Matcha? Kind of like in your own words, how do you see it? And how do you see it? How does it fit into the ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, so Matcha is a DEX aggregator. It is a consumer product. You can go and visit it. You can search for any token that exists on the different EVM networks we support. If the ERC20 token has been deployed, we will pick it up and it will be indexed and searchable on Matcha within 15 minutes. And you can go and get a quote and can tap into hundreds of different decentralized exchanges. And Matcha will automatically do all the hard work of finding you the best possible price, no matter the size of the trade. The purpose of Matcha is really to provide a consumer product that eliminates the complexity of accessing tokens and liquidity. This is like another area where things have really changed over the years. The user experience for Web3 products, 4+ years ago, it was really not something that was accessible to a mainstream audience. And really kind of were just like the enthusiasts that were interacting with these Web3 apps. And so we set out in 2020 to further our mission of tokenization of all value, making it all accessible to a mainstream audience by building Matcha to be like a simple, friendly, accessible product that's extremely powerful under the hood. And so that's what Matcha continues to offer today. And it's just gotten more and more powerful over time.
Will, you kind of alluded to this, like the simple interface, and I think everybody's familiar with the actions that you can do. It's you can do a market swap, a limit swap, and then cross-chain. Maybe just give us like a quick, just high level. And I'm kind of curious too, if you know what is kind of used more between market and limit. I'm assuming crypto degens are just smashing or market swaps, and but yeah, maybe you can give us some color on that a little bit too.
Yeah, happily. So Matcha, as you said, it's kind of like your all-in-one toolbox for trading in Web3. If you want to go in and buy a token right now in this very moment, get it at the very best possible price, you can do a market trade. And this is what is aggregating liquidity from hundreds of different decentralized exchanges in order to put together a quote that has like the best average price. A few $1 billion of trading volume are going through this swap functionality every single month. And if you really want to buy or sell a token at a specific price, could be like a token that's a bit more long tail, maybe it's not super liquid, and you want to sell a big old block of tokens at a price that you have set. you can go in and you can create a limit order. This occurs off-chain. And when the market moves, other counterparties will come in and they'll fill your limit order, and the tokens will appear in your wallet. We also recently added support for cross-chain swaps. So this allows you to very easily access like up-and-coming ecosystems like Base and Optimism, Arbitrum, many others like our all of our favorites, and makes it super easy for you to take your tokens on one chain and get tokens on whichever chain you want, and it's very quick. And so it really provides kind of all the different tools that you need to go in and navigate Web3.
Will, when I think about the competition within the DEX aggregator space, like it's a group of longtime builders like Matcha and 0x. I'm wondering, like, how do you think about differentiating Matcha from like the competitors out there? Like, I think like most top of mind names for me are like 1inch and like a Cow Swap. So I'm curious, like maybe this will actually lead us into 0xB2 being one of those differentiators, but anything else you can kind of flesh out for us?
Yeah, definitely. So there are a number of really solid DEX aggregation products out there, including the ones you named. And what differentiates Matcha from some of these other products that are out here? First, trust and user experience is top of mind for us. We always want to put users first. We want to make sure that they can have a trustworthy, reliable experience that's hopefully pleasant and delightful, while also kind of getting the super competitive pricing that is needed for the advanced users that are out there. Another thing that's really important to us as we approach building Matcha is having the widest breadth of coverage. So some of the DEX aggregation solutions out there, they offer really solid pricing on, say, for example, like on Ethereum and maybe a couple other networks. But Matcha supports, again, like any token, if it has been deployed by anyone in the world, it gets indexed and is searchable and tradable within minutes on Matcha. And we offer this across a number of different blockchains. Third, I think there are kind of differences in like how much people kind of prioritize speed. So that's another thing that we think is important with Matcha. You shouldn't have to sacrifice speed and a snappy user experience in order to get world-class pricing. You can come to Matcha today. You can go and complete a trade and have it land on chain in a matter of seconds. And there isn't necessarily the need to wait for like an auction to complete. Some folks, totally fine waiting for something like a batch auction can take like 30 seconds or a minute. Other folks, markets move quickly and they want their chain to land now. They want their trade to land and be confirmed on chain right now. And so those are just a few of the things that we're really proud of with Matcha.
One feature that I enjoy within Matcha, and you sort of alluded to this earlier as like one of the legacy problems in DeFi, is with MEV. So can you talk us through, Will, or dumb down, when we're trading, let's say I'm going to do a market swap through Matcha, what does it mean for that trade to be MEV protected? Like, what are you protecting me from, and how does that actually work?
Yeah, good question. So MEV basically means that the price that you see in the user interface when you click confirm ends up being different and than the price that you actually see when the tokens land in your wallet. So you end up getting less tokens than the user interface displayed. And the reason why this happens is because as a transaction is broadcast to the blockchain network, that transaction is public and anyone can see it. And it lands in what's called the public mempool. which is just a big old pool of transactions that are waiting to get packaged up and included into the next block. And what's interesting is that there's no rules around how those transactions sitting in the mempool are sequenced within a block. And so sophisticated actors that are running arbitrage bots or sandwich attack bots, essentially what they can do is they can go in and they can pick out specific transactions from the mempool, and they can sequence them in a way where your trade ends up executing at a worse price in order for them to extract an arbitrage. And they can do this risk-free. It's really toxic and extractive for end users. Over the last years, over $1 billion has been extracted from traders like you and I due to MEV extraction. And Matcha does protect against MEV. We have a couple of different powerful technologies. First, we have 0x RFQ. So this is a request for quote system. It plugs into a variety of professional market makers who give you a quote at a specific price, and you cannot get any price other than what is quoted. So there is no potential for slippage or for modifying the execution price by sequencing transactions in a malicious way. And RFQ is really powerful. These market makers essentially compete with on-chain liquidity sources in order to provide you a better price than what you could have gotten otherwise. And RFQ is MEV proof. Another way that we protect users from MEV extraction is through Matcha Auto. So Matcha Auto is a fully gasless experience. So you can trade without having any native tokens or gas money in your wallet. And instead, you sign a transaction, and Matcha will go and take that and make sure it lands on the blockchain without anyone being able to see it or sequence it in a way that is malicious and extractive. And another benefit of Matcha Auto is that the workers, the Matcha workers that will ensure that this trade lands on chain, they have a dynamic gas price policy. So they will ratchet up the gas price very, very quickly, depending upon congestion in the network. And this increases the probability of your trade landing on chain and being confirmed in the next block drastically. So you get faster trade confirmation, your transaction is protected from MEV bots, and you also don't have to pay for gas. So yeah, that is RFQ and Matcha Auto. Those are two technologies that protect you from MEV with Matcha.
Before we get back to the show, just a quick thanks to our sponsor at Mantle Network, the layer 2 that pioneered the 5th largest LST with 1.6 billion TVL called MEV. Since July 1st, Mantle is running a 100-day airdrop campaign called Metamorphosis to distribute a new governance token for the Mantle liquid staking protocol called Cook. The community can earn points for Cook called Powder by holding MEV in Metamorphosis and simultaneously enjoying other yield and reward opportunities in the Mantle ecosystem. Users can also earn Powder by staking MNT in the Mantle Rewards Station. For more details, go to the Mantle blog at mantle.xyz/blog and follow the 0x Mantle handle on Twitter for more updates.
It's actually crazy what goes on under the hood that I'm typically blissfully aware of as I'm, just clicking around on my little protocols that I don't fully understand and doing my swaps. It's pretty amazing. I think on that, let's get into V2 because you're making things even more improved, I guess, through V2, and it sounds like you've been working on it for a while. So maybe just fill us in, high level to start. What are you working on with 0x V2? How long you've been working on it? Just give us the high-level notes.
Yeah. So 0x V2 represents a complete overhaul of our routing engine and technology stack. There are a variety of benefits that are coming with V2, but I think the one that most people will care about the most is that 0x pricing, both through our developer APIs and through Matcha, are going to be incredibly competitive and top tier. And the reason is because we have rebuilt this routing engine in a way that allows us to fully utilize on-chain liquidity and fully utilize RFQ liquidity in ways that were not feasible in our prior version. And I think probably the best way to kind of demonstrate the power of the new routing engine is to just show it to you.
For any of our listeners, just a reminder, you can go to our link tree at edge_pod, and that's where you can find our YouTube. So if you're listening, go to the YouTube version of the episode and you can watch the demo we're about to walk through.
Yeah, so this is Matcha. For those who haven't checked it out before, this is the homepage. Again, Matcha is able to find you the very best price for over 5 million tokens on a number of different blockchains. And there's a number of tokens here, the popular ones. There's also a list of trending tokens, as well as recent trades that have occurred on Matcha. But if we go in, let's see, if we want to do a large trade, this is an area where Matcha really shines. This new routing engine is able to achieve extremely competitive pricing for large trades. So for the whales out there, institutional traders, if you need to move size, Matcha is the place to be. And so if you enter in and request a quote on Matcha, what you'll see here is we have this little popover where you can click to see the route. So if we click on it here, we can pull up the route that is been produced in order to achieve the quote that is shown here. A couple things that are worth noting. So if you look here, this is a $1 million DAI trade to wrapped Bitcoin, and the price impact is, less than 10 basis points. Yeah, it's almost zero. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Opening up the route again, you can see that we're tapping into a variety of different liquidity sources. So first, we have kind of the maker PSM, which allows you to move between different stablecoins and DAI very efficiently. Next, we have a professional market maker that's quoting through our RFQ system. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different market makers. These are all different professional market makers that are all providing quotes. And each one of these RFQ quotes is providing a better price than what would have alternatively been available if we just relied on on-chain liquidity like an AMM. And then we, of course, have everyone's favorite AMMs. We have Uniswap v3 in a variety of different pools here, it looks like. And we also have Dodo here. And you can also see that this route is updating as the blocks tick on. The best price also updates as well.
Well, this is one thing I've never been totally clear on. When I'm trading on Matcha, I am not just benefiting from, let's say, the liquidity on chain, because some of these market maker partners, long story short, obviously they've got money spread across lots of centralized exchanges, and so they're able to offer more competitive pricing at times on chain.
Yeah, that's right. So these are professional market makers that are tapped into a variety of different venues, centralized exchanges, all geographically distributed around the globe, and they are able to quote really competitively by having algorithms that allow them to put out pricing that is hard to match on chain. The fact that RFQ is not able to be attacked, it isn't possible to do any sort of MEV extraction with RFQ. It means it reduces the risk of providing a quote, and market makers are therefore able to quote much more competitively because they know exactly what's going to happen when that trade hits the chain. I just increased the size of the trade to 10 million DAI to wrapped Bitcoin. And just as you can see, as the size of the trade increases, the amount of liquidity pools that are being utilized also increases in order to accommodate that trade size. And yeah, as the number of liquidity pools increases, so does the gas cost. And so you can see here that in order to do this $10 million DAI draft Bitcoin trade, we're tapping into, I don't know, must be like 20 plus different liquidity pools. And it costs, $240 in gas fees on Ethereum mainnet right now.
What are some of the largest trades you've ever seen go through 0x protocol or matcha?
Yeah, there've been some pretty massive ones. It depends on the trading pair. So for folks that are moving in and out of liquid staked tokens, so say for example they have Lido staked ETH or some kind of flavor of staked ETH, we'll often see people coming in and moving really, really large size, like tens of millions of dollars in a single trade. And yeah, I think now that with 0xv2, since we're going, we have top tier pricing, it's going to be hard for anything else out there to beat this. We expect to see, some of the large whales coming in and taking advantage of this better pricing.
And then, Will, could you also just dumb down for us as users? I look at this and I'm like, okay, and this is, this isn't the average user, but a $10 million trade here, they're paying $250 in gas. And right now, actually, the gas price is around 25 Gwei, 20 Gwei today. So it's a little bit higher than it's been recently on ETH mainnet. What's the catch here in terms of how are you able to provide, these sorts of trades? Basically who's ultimately paying the fees to do a swap like this? And again, if you can just kind of dumb it down for us as the average user, how are you able to offer such competitive trades?
So yeah, as you noted, Matcha offers the ability to trade with absolutely zero fees. And so yeah, this trade right here, we do not earn any swap fees from this. And yeah, one of the ways that we are able to earn revenue and sustain our team and our company is by offering a more reliable and consistent trading experience for folks that aren't necessarily the super advanced traders that are using a custom RPC endpoint and know the intricacies of sandwich attacks. And so, yeah, folks that want to not have to think about failed trades, fluctuating network prices and congestion, not having to think about, how their slippage should be set, or not having to worry about MEV. We have Matcha Auto. And yeah, again, this is a gasless experience. Trades are free, so you don't pay any network fees. And, in this trade, you're paying a 25 basis point fee. Your trade is going to utilize the same exact sources of liquidity. And it's going to be protected from MEV. It's going to be landing on chain and confirming more rapidly on average. Oftentimes it will land in the very next block. And yeah, you don't have to worry about slippage or reverted transactions. Everything will just work for you. You can trade. You don't have to worry about the market moving against you. It's just a very smooth experience. This is something that some folks prefer, and they're willing to pay a small fee in order to get a really reliable and easy experience without sacrificing price competitiveness. And so, yeah, some of the Matcha users out there, they prefer to use Matcha Auto because they would prefer to have MEV protection and a more reliable experience. And other folks feel comfortable going and navigating the mempool on their own. And they can do that through Matcha for zero fees.
Teller is a decentralized protocol that enables anyone to borrow or lend using any Ethereum asset. You can think of a teller loan as a DeFi cash advance, one where you can use any of your favorite ERC20 tokens as collateral to get an instant USDC loan. Discover the power of a DeFi cash advance today at teller.org.
At Moonbeam, we're building a world where the wonders of decentralized technology are accessible to everyone. We're advancing Web3 integration through product enhancements, funding for innovation, and investment in our partner ecosystem. Our product roadmap includes ZK initiatives, tokenomics updates, and 8x throughput. Our $10 million innovation fund invests in startups that deliver cutting-edge solutions for RWAs and Web3 gaming, and our partner ecosystem continues to grow through grants and incentives. Moonbeams is delivering frictionless user and builder experiences to create the future of the internet on-chain. Join us by participating in the Moonrise campaign today.
Will, I'm curious, like, I feel like we've kind of gone over maybe like the retail user journey and how whales kind of interact with this, but I know you've got integrations with partners with the likes of Coinbase, a MetaMask, a Robinhood. How do those kind of bigger players interact with 0x or Matcha?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there are a number of big players out there that offer swapping functionality either in their wallet experience or in different type of consumer product, including MetaMask, Robinhood, Coinbase, and many, many others. If you have swapped on a DEX through a wallet, you've probably used 0x without knowing it. And the way that these integrators rely on 0x is the same way that Matcha does. So 0x offers a suite of developer APIs, including our swap API, which it provides this powerful routing engine and taps into all these different sources of liquidity and serves up a super competitive quote through a familiar API endpoint that anyone can plug into, and quite straightforward integration. And yeah, we've been fortunate to have the privilege to work with some of these massive names in the space. And yeah, we really enjoy working with different teams out there that are looking to make accessing tokens through their application simple and easy, and also to help different Web3 builders out there figure out how to create a business and start getting onto the path of sustainability by integrating swaps and earning revenue through those swaps. Swaps have kind of become like the de facto business model in Web3. So I think MetaMask was probably the first crypto native product that really demonstrated strong product market fit and a strong sustainable business with their swaps. And, I think MetaMask offers swaps with like an 87.5 BIP fee added on top. And some folks in DeFi are really sensitive to pricing and fees, and that's not something that is attractive to them. But other folks, they're looking to get that token, and they want it to be simple and easy. They don't want to have to go to a sketchy website. They just want to get it done. And paying a small fee to their wallet provider isn't really a big deal. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like these kind of Web3 products provide a lot of value to their users, and I think swaps are like a natural way for them to monetize and create like a really viable business.
Just the last few years, I personally graduated to a milestone in my own crypto journey where I'm like, I don't want to connect my wallet to something that I'm not like 99.9% certain of who they are, the team, the background, the reputation. And it's part of the reason I use Matcha. I know what I'm connecting to. I know how long you guys have been in the game building. And, while I welcome, new builders, it means something. And I think MetaMask Swap is a great example of that. There's a lot of folks, no matter whether you're trading in smaller size or larger size, where you just, what you're getting. And like, it's crazy because as you pointed out, they're charging a pretty hefty fee. And I've seen the volume that they're punching through the 0x API at times. And I mean, it's just so impressive, but it's a testament to like the product market fit they've established. And again, the good reputation they've built over the years.
Will, is there anything else in V2 that you think you should call attention to, or that's like top of mind that I think users should know about?
Yeah, there are a number of things that we're really excited about coming with V2, but I think one of the really important pieces relates to user security. And with the new 0x V2 API, you are going to be, as a user, relying on permit2. And so permit2 allows you to no longer set unlimited allowances on a bunch of different smart contracts. And most of the hacks that have occurred in the space occur because users come in, they set an unlimited allowance, they forget about the fact they might have even used that product, and maybe weeks or months later, that smart contract gets hacked and ends up affecting many, many users. Everyone that has ever interacted with that smart contract can be impacted. And so one of the massive benefits of permit2 is that it allows you to set permissions for each trade and only provide access to the amount that is being traded. And you can do this very efficiently, so there isn't a significant amount of gas overhead. And in return, you get much better user security. You don't have to worry about any smart contracts getting hacked and finding that your wallet doesn't have the tokens that you thought it had in it. And this is overall like a much better and more hygienic pattern for the Web3 space. Permit2 is introduced by the Uniswap team. It's a really well-vetted and useful piece of infrastructure. It's relied upon by a lot of projects, including the Uniswap team. And we think that this is a good path forward. And yeah, it's also, it's something that we've also been thinking about for a while. The predecessor to Permit2 was developed by one of our alumni, Lawrence Foreman, who created a kind of a permit everywhere smart contract that allowed for a similar pattern. But we think with Permit2, it's great to have a standard that a bunch of different teams rely on. And yeah, so that's one of the ways that 0x V2 is looking out for user security.
Guys, I think this is probably a great place for us to start to wrap up. So I want to remind our listeners that they can learn more by going to matcha.xyz. They should follow matcha.xyz, the Twitter handle. They should follow Will's Twitter handle at Will Warren. All of that's in our show notes, so you can easily reference it. And then, Will, thanks so much for coming on. It's a real privilege just to, get to talk with you. Nomadic and I tend to go back and forth during the podcast, in like a Google sheet, just about like which questions we might be asking next. And we've just been going back and forth, saying like, this is just such like a quality conversation. And like I said, it's a privilege when we get to, learn from folks like you that have been building since the beginning of time in DeFi and Ethereum. That said, can you close us out with any just like final recommended steps to get started with Matcha? Anything to call out for builders too? Like if someone's looking to integrate the 0x V2 API, and any words of advice there?
Yeah, absolutely. So by now, 0x V2 is live and brand new routing engine is available through matcha.xyz. Go and give it a look. Search for different long tail tokens. Look at blue chips. Experiment with, getting quotes for different trade sizes. Look at the different routing diagrams, and you can get a sense of what type of pricing and experience you can potentially offer through your own product using 0x API. As a whale, you might want to check out Matcha as well, because you're going to be able to get absolutely top-tier world-class pricing and tapping into all the hundreds of on-chain liquidity sources as well as 0x RFQ. So give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. And appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're a talented founder or developer, please consider reaching out to our team at fourthrevolution.capital. And for future episodes of The Edge podcast, please check out our link tree at edge_pod.